is back. How exciting! Hello, other Dave Thomas in the chat. Your match is never. My name is Jessica. And, well, actually, hello, welcome to the Midnight Creep Out. I am the Creep Mistress. I'm your host and Creep Mistress, Jessica. God, it's been like a month and a half since I've done one of these, and I've entirely forgotten how to do it. Here, hold on. We're going to start it. Hello and welcome to the Midnight Creep Out. I am your host and Creep Mistress, Jessica. And with me tonight is improviser, comedian, and friend of the channel, Adi Heller.
Hi.
Hi, Adi.
I love that this is our first beginning of this episode.
Yes, yeah. The one and only. There are no alternate timelines in which multiple introductions exist.
Oh.
How's it going, Adi? How are you?
This isn't the multiverse episode.
No.
I'm doing great. I am out now in Western Mass where I can walk outdoors and look at a sky that is not totally dissimilar from the backdrop that we've got tonight. And there are always the sounds of crickets chirping. It's really nice out here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I've got to say hi to Boof Wellington also in the chat. We've got the Steam Daddies in the chat tonight. Love it. Yeah, woo! I'm good. I'm really excited to be back on the Midnight Creep Out horse, the creepiest horse there is.
The creepiest horse I've ever seen is in the opening sequence to one of the Westworlds. I think Yeah, one of the
Yes.
seasons of Westworld had the skeleton horse trotting in the opening
Yes.
credits. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Mhm.
about. My goodness. I'm so out of practice, I forgot to light my candles. Oh well, that's all right.
Oof.
Next time. Yeah, the one made of milk, says Dave Thomas. I know
Mhm.
exactly what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Yes, very upsetting. I don't like it at
Mhm.
all.
Mhm.
So before we get into the thing that we're talking about tonight, speaking of creepy things, since
Yeah.
that is the name of the show, I got this weird postcard in the mail today, and it's not to me. It is addressed to postal customer. And I don't know if you can see it. It says the true story of QAnon. And it's
Wait,
got all sorts of like celebrities on here. I'm sure you can see. We
yeah,
got
we've got Dave Chappelle, we've got Jeff Bezos, we've got sponsor of the show, technically, I guess, because we're
yeah,
on Twitch.
sponsor of the show, Jeff Bezos. Hey
Uh,
Lab.
we've got Barack Obama and Mel Gibson, not often
Yeah.
grouped together.
yeah, right? We got Mitt. We've got Elon. We've
Oh,
got the
you're holding it up
general.
long enough for people to scan the QR code.
I know, right? Now go ahead, scan the QR code. Do it. So on the back, yeah, MLab says she got it too. I did scan the QR code, MLab. So it's literally it's just addressed to postal customer, and it came
That's
from
not a
Portsmouth, New
person. That's not a
Hampshire.
human.
So like it must have, yeah, and of course Jim Gaffigan. Uh, I thought it must have come from some random fucking guy or woman, I suppose. Not as likely, but also possible.
Yeah.
In New Hampshire, I imagine has just decided to like send these all over. So
Hmm.
yeah, MLab says she got one. If you got one, put it in the chat. I want to know how far this has gotten. On the back, it talks about says I was a child victim of the cabal spoken of in QAnon. They invented the whole saga of QAnon and planned all news and entertainment events 20 years ago. They planned 9/11, the 7/7 bombing, the Ukraine war, and COVID 19. And they told me that Luvox cures COVID 19. Like the whole, like the, I'm sorry, Boof. The whole like premise around this is that this person was like kidnapped by QAnon. And for some reason, they told them all of their secrets.
Well, not it
And
wouldn't be kidnapped by QAnon. It would be kidnapped by I'm guessing the first people that QAnon um, theoretically revealed, the Pizzagate people, which is like a bunch of Democrat leaders that
yeah.
theoretically had some sort of child
Yeah, the cabal
sexual
is the
abuse thing.
cabal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
cabal, and they
Yeah.
abuse children in the back office of some pizza restaurant or something like that.
Right. Hey, Grace. Um,
Um, but I want to go. So this is what really jumped out to me from that is that they planned out all news events of the last 20 years.
and
They
entertainment events.
Benefer 1.0 and
Yep.
2.0.
Yep.
They um, they planned Michael Phelps getting photographed smoking out of a bong.
Yep.
Yep, they did that.
Absolutely. They
Yep.
did. Also, I hate to break the news to you, but on Good Friday, this world will end. Possibly by nukes, or my, all caps, world will end. On Good Friday, this world will end, possibly by nukes, or my world will end. Please
Yeah,
read the truth at the
I
QR
know
code
which one I'm
below.
picking.
I know, right? And then it's so funny. It's like Russia to go to Moldova. Search Marburg Research UTMB. World ends 4/22/22 or possibly 4/15/22. And then there's a very long URL for a PNG image of like a how many pages was it, MLab? I don't know if you saw it.
I don't know, but
Uh
I've also got ticking abilities, so I'm just putting this up here.
I know, right? Yeah. So very weird, very interesting. Grace, I'm gonna have to show you this because she lives with me. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
very
that's not
creepy.
it's, it's
Oh
not
no.
good, but if we have to sacrifice either the world or the world of the person who sent that out,
Hmm.
it's a really easy choice.
Yeah. I think the thing that I feel the worst about is that this person spent their hard-earned money, and it probably wasn't cheap
No.
to get
And
that out into the world.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I don't think that person is necessarily doing great.
They could probably
I
use
think
the
they
money
need that
that they have
money. I think
spent.
they need that
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're out there, uh, anonymous from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, we care about you. We want you to get the help you need. So, Adi,
Yeah.
you said that now, so you live out in Western Mass. You can
Mhm.
look up and see the stars. Can you see the Milky Way band in the sky where you're at?
Um, I don't think no, I probably could. I live right next to the town soccer fields, and I bet
Oh,
at night I could get out into the middle of those and see it.
yeah.
I don't stray too far from my home these days because I'm very tired.
Oh, oh.
But
Well, maybe after the show tonight,
yeah, yeah.
from 105 to 115, you can get out there and see if you can see the Milky Way band. But
I
it
I
sounds
ask
like you can
why.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you can see some pretty cool stars out there where you're at. So I'm
Mhm.
curious, Adi, do you ever look up at the stars and wonder if we're all alone out here in the universe?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Oh,
And I think the answer is no, we're not.
all right. All
I
right.
feel like probability says we're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you believe in extraterrestrial life then, is what you're saying to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you had to say, do I believe or not believe, I'm closer to believe.
All right. Cool, cool, cool.
Hmm.
So where do you think all the aliens are?
Oh, I don't know. In some galaxy that's like designated by a series of numbers and letters that I've never heard of or I heard about and forgot about.
Okay.
I don't think the aliens. I think it's. I think if they were at least like Mars is the most inhabitable close planet. Like if they were Mars or Neptune or something like that, I feel like we would know already.
You think so? Yeah.
I think we would.
If they were if they were intelligent and communicative, we definitely would know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's possible. They say like under the ice on the Europa, the Jupiter's
Hmm.
moon Europa, that it's possible that there's life under there, but
Okay. All right.
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, but it might be like space fish,
Right, exactly.
right?
Right. It's probably not, people doing Twitch streams at
Right,
midnight
like
about
right, and that's the thing. There's probably life in our solar system, but I think like intelligent, whatever, like life that's intelligent enough to communicate outside of its orbit or whatever. Like, I think that's too far away from us.
all right. All right. Well, for
Hmm.
decades, scientists and science fiction enthusiasts alike have posited that surely we must not be alone in the universe. In fact, some say it's likely quite the contrary. But if there are supposedly thousands of other civilizations out there, where are they? Why haven't we come in contact with them? And if there are no other civilizations out there, does that mean that our own civilization is doomed, D?
I mean, if they're not, then yes.
Yeah, if
Then
we're the only
yes.
ones,
We're not going to be the ones that made it.
doesn't look good for us. Yikes.
I'm
So
sorry. I'm
tonight,
sorry. I'm looking around and I don't think we're that exceptional.
I mean, maybe we are. Maybe we are. Who knows? Grace says we are gross. That's hilarious. We are gross. I would stay away. I know, right? I frequently, yeah, same. I would like to leave if I could.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
so tonight we talk about where are all the aliens? We're gonna talk about the Fermi Paradox, the Drake equation, and the Great Filter. Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome.
I
I'm
agree.
ready.
I'm Lav. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, are you familiar with any of these terms, Ade? Have you heard of these?
Yeah, I don't remember what it is, but I have heard of the Fermi Paradox. That
Mm.
sounds very, very familiar. Drake equation. The closest thing I know to the Drake equation is this very, very famous, like 40 plus year old piece of graffiti in Amherst, Mass, where I moved back to. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, there's a building in the center of town that just for years has said in very big, clear letters, "Save the Drake." That's it.
Oh,
Yeah. Save the Drake. It to the point that a new bar recently opened called the Drake to
the
capitalize off of
Drake.
it. Yeah. But
That's cool.
Save the Drake out ages me.
Huh. And we're sure that that's about the Drake equation?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
No one knows what it is.
Oh,
Nobody knows what it is. So,
interesting. Isn't there like a duck that's a Drake? Or that's right? Could
I
be
mean,
that.
like this is a college town. Like I feel like the Drake is probably like what some frat's mascot was in like 1979.
Yeah, right? Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I kind of go back and forth. The Fermi Paradox, was thought up first, but I almost feel like it makes more sense to talk about the Drake equation uh, first, if we're talking about sequential things. Um, okay, oh boy, I don't know. Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
I was like, who's in the chat right now that's putting things up in the thing? Okay. Oh God. Oh dear Lord. Okay. So the Drake equation. In 1961, J.P.T. Pierman of the National Academy of Sciences approached astronomer Frank Drake to help convene a small, informal SETI conference. SETI stands for the Search for Extraterrestrial Life, and it's a nonprofit research organization that looks for signs of extraterrestrial life in the universe. The core purpose of the 1961 meeting was to quantify whether SETI had any reasonable chance of successfully detecting civilizations around other stars. In order to do this, Drake formulated an equation to estimate the number of active, communicative extraterrestrial civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy. And it looks like this. So N is the number of civilizations in our galaxy with which communication might be possible. So, they are in our visible universe, right? And they are currently using, communication devices that we would be able to communicate with, right? So, like radio, for example.
Right.
Is the average rate of star formation in our galaxy? It seems like it's like, 1 to 2. And this is just our galaxy. This isn't the universe. This is just the Milky Way galaxy. FP is the fraction of those stars that have planets. NE is the average number of planets that can potentially support life per star that has planets. FL is the fraction of planets that support life that actually develop life at some point. Fi is the fraction of planets with life that actually go on to develop intelligent life and civilizations. Okay. FC is the fraction of civilizations that develop a technology that releases detectable signs of their existence into space, so like radio waves. And L is the length of time for which such civilizations release detectable signals into space. I'm going to go over it again, Grace. Don't worry. So N, right, is the number of civilizations we could talk to. R is how many stars are formed in our galaxy every year. This one, oh, you can't see me. Hold on. This one, there we go.
I do that all the time at work.
It's the fraction of those stars that have planets. Okay. Yeah. This one is the number of those planets that could support life. This is the one is the fraction. So it's like, fraction life, right? This is fraction of those that have intelligent life, right? This is the fraction of those that are communicative, right? And then the L is the length of time. So like how many years they've been communicative.
Right.
So for example, we've only been communicative. Like when was the radio invented? Adi, do you know?
No, I don't. It was 16s, 17s, 17s, 18s.
I think late 18s, late 18s, early 19s.
The first like telephone connection was like Alexander Graham Bell. That was like 1820s, I think.
Boof knows. Boof.
Radio must have come after.
Yeah, Boof. Put it in the
chat.
Yeah,
16s was absurd.
Yeah,
16s was embarrassing.
No.
16s was like they had like looms.
Well, okay. No, you're wrong again. Again, by a more significant amount this time.
Okay.
But that's okay. You're not here to be right. Uh, Why are you asking Boof? I'm asking Boof because he always wins trivia. That's why I'm asking Boof.
David's good at the math questions. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
David, give us your best answer to this equation then. Since you're so good at math. And don't you have a degree in this kind of stuff? Okay. So the likelihood of other civilizations existing depends on the size of the numbers we plug into the equation. Right. Yeah, you're right. That's true. It is about the methodology. We'll get into that.
Is that what you tell yourself, David?
Yikes. Okay. So some factors here we can make really educated guesses about, right? So for example, the rate of star formation, right? It's between 1 and 2. I think we pretty much know that for sure.
That's
The fraction of those stars that have planets, we can make really good guesses about because of what we can observe. And then also the number of those planets that exist in the circumstellar habitable zone, right? Which most people know as the Goldilocks zone, right? It's just the right distance away from the sun to not to to be able to support life. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. Unfortunately, though, these other numbers pretty much come from speculation.
from the butt.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You got to pull it right out of your butt.
Yep.
And scientists disagree wildly about what numbers make the most sense.
Mhm.
The most generous estimations put the possibility of over 15 million other communicative civilizations in just the Milky Way galaxy.
Mhm.
But more conservative estimates leave us all alone.
Right.
I think I did see a number that was like, I think in the original meeting, their like most conservative estimate was like 24. There were 24 other civilizations.
In our
In
galaxy.
our galaxy. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, typical stuff. Typical.
Typical scientists
Um,
sciencing like they science.
yeah. So so there are Drake equation calculators that you can find on the internet.
Mhm.
And so I plugged my own guesses into the
Yeah.
numbers. And do you want to guess what I got?
No. No, I mean I can,
Guess.
but I'll guess. So this is the number of other civilizations out there?
Yes. Guess what I got when I plugged my own guesses into this equation?
55.
0.
Ah.
I know, right? I
Well.
know. Nerds. I'm not sure what Marx has to do with that, but okay. Right? Is this Marx? Right? We put this in because
Yeah,
it's
that's
Marx, didn't
Marx.
we?
That's Marx.
Okay.
He came on with Left Night, I think.
Right. I suddenly
Mhm.
got afraid that it was actually the evolution guy. Why can't I think of his name? Darwin for a
Darwin.
second. I don't know why.
Jesus, the
Anyway.
evolution guy, Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't know, right?
Yeah.
And we'll get into a little bit more about how likely some of these are later, but I think clearly it really all depends on, how common is life in
Right.
the universe.
Which is a complete fucking guess.
Well, it might not
Oh.
be.
Oh.
There's some evidence. So we can glean, some stuff from our own history, right? From the Earth's own history. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Oops, there we go.
Okay.
So
Wait, I have a
that's
question. Did you
Go ahead.
choose a 0 for any of those numbers, and is that
No.
why your number was 0?
No.
Okay.
Well, right. So obviously if you did choose a 0, anything multiplied by 0 is 0.
Right.
So it came up, so it came up 0, but really what that means is it came out as like 10 to the negative 13 power or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
And so it's so small it may as well be 0. However, when you're in an infinite universe, there's no such thing as that, right? It's not possible. So while there might not be any intelligent aliens in our galaxy, that doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't some in other galaxies. Maybe there's only one Earth per galaxy. Maybe there's only one Earth per 100 galaxies, per 1,000, per 1 million. But if the universe truly is infinite, as they say it is, right? Especially over an infinite timeline of like big bangs and big shrinks and big bangs and big shrinks. You know, there's going to be something somewhere. Now I'm getting a little in the weeds.
It's gotta be. All right. I'm sorry. I derailed you.
No, I derailed myself.
Okay.
Which is, it's a thing that happens.
Well, that's kind of you.
Yeah. Okay. So then there's Grace says 24, the scientists say. I agree. I hope that there's at least 24.
I really just thought to myself that the most conservative from the scientists was 24. I was like, there's no way Jess is more skeptical than the scientists, right?
Well, but also I'm a layperson. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And also, this happened in 1961. So what we've learned in the past 60 years, right, could change a lot about what we think about those numbers.
Yes. That's a while ago.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. They're all dead.
They are all dead. Oh, and so is this guy. Speaking of dead people, let's move on to the Fermi Paradox.
Okay.
So in 1950, so this was 10 years before, physicist Enrico Fermi was walking to lunch with some colleagues when the topic of recent UFO sightings came up. They eventually started discussing the possibility of faster than light travel, and then some time passed, and they're sitting at lunch, and all of a sudden Fermi blurts out, "But where is everybody?" or something similar.
But in Italian?
I don't know. I'm not sure if they were in Italy. He's Italian American, so I don't know if it was an Italian. Right. Either way, yeah. So he, in frustration, blurted out, "Where is everybody?" And really, what he's talking about is, if we're assuming all of those things I've already just said, there should be people out there somewhere, right, beneath the pale moonlight. So the paradox relies on this chain of reasoning, right, that I think most people would come up with on their own, but here it is. So the chain of reasoning goes something like this. So we know for sure that there are billions of stars in our galaxy that are similar to the sun. We know that for sure. Some of these stars have Earth-like planets in the Goldilocks zone. We know that for sure. That's definitely true. Many of these stars and planets are older than our sun. We know that for sure as well. If the Earth is typical, which we don't know, obviously, but if the Earth is typical, some of those planets may have developed intelligent life and civilizations before us. Right? So I forget what the exact numbers are off the top of my head. The universe is, what they say. The universe is something like 13 billion years old, and the planet Earth is, I don't know, like way less than that, like 6 billion years old, right? 7 billion years old.
Yeah, I think that's about
which
right.
Means lots of billions of years happened before us, right?
Yeah. More billions happened before us than our time.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Probably. I actually don't know the numbers. I know. Grace, I wish. Don't rub it in my face that I'm not. It just makes me more upset. Right. We made some of these things we know, then we make the assumption, right, that if the Earth is typical, some may have developed intelligent life and civilizations before us. Some of those civilizations may have discovered interstellar travel. Even at the slow pace of what we now imagine for interstellar travel, the Milky Way could be completely traversed in just a few million years. If all of those things are true, Earth should have been visited by extraterrestrial civilizations by now, or at least their probes, or at least have some sort of communication happening, right? But if all of those things are true, then as Fermi famously allegedly said, where is everybody?
Well, you've had many episodes maybe about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe not exactly, but sure. So in terms of solutions, only one of two things can be true, right? One, either life in the universe is extremely rare, or life is abundant, or somewhere in between rare and abundant, but something is stopping other civilizations from contacting us,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
One of those two things has to be true.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would be stopping life from either developing or intelligent life or civilization or communication or interstellar travel? What could be stopping those things? One theory, or, I guess a category of explanations, is called the Great Filter.
Mm.
Have you heard of this before, Adi?
No, but I have a
Heller
guess. I have a
filter?
guess. This was kind of what I was thinking about, I think.
Yeah. So theoretically, excuse me, the Great Filter is some sort of event that prevents life from either forming on other Earth-like planets or wipes it out before it can make contact with other civilizations. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
some sort of event, right?
Just like,
The big
yeah, it's like a wall.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the big question for us is that wall in front of us or behind us?
Time what do you mean? Like,
Yes, in terms of like the timeline of our civilization. Have we
yeah, yeah.
already miraculously made it through the Great Filter and
Yeah.
life forms don't?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it in front of us? Yeah, that's why we call it the Midnight Creepout, baby. Yep.
Yes.
We knew we'd get there eventually.
Yes.
Uh or is it
That
in front of us and we have yet to make it through?
feels more likely to me.
Yeah, I don't know. So Kurzgesagt is a YouTube channel that I really love. They do like animated videos on all sorts of sciencey things, and they do have a really great video on the Great Filter. And Kurzgesagt, uh, it means in a
Kurzgesagt?
nutshell. Kurzgesagt.
It sounds to me
Kurzgesagt.
like Psycho Killer, Kurzgesagt.
Yeah, yeah. But it's German for in a nutshell,
Okay.
right? Yeah, anyway, so they were talking about if we discovered like life on other planets, if we discovered like, you know, any life at all, it would actually probably be spell really bad news for us, because that would mean that the Great Filter is probably in front of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not good. Um, so we can look at our own history to kind of make some guesses as to what it might be. But the very first one is obviously that planets like Earth just aren't that common. It's the rare Earth hypothesis. So,
Right.
the situation, the circumstances that allow life to appear, it just doesn't happen that frequently.
Right.
Um, Right. So the rare Earth hypothesis argues that the origin of life requires an improbable combination of astrophysical, geological, and biological events and circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
The term originates from the book Rare Earth: Why Complex Life is Uncommon in the Universe, by geologist and paleontologist Peter Ward and astronomer and astrobiologist Donald E. Brownlee, who are both faculty members at the University of Washington.
Because his name didn't sound formal enough when it was just Donald Brownlee.
Yes. Donald E. Brownlee.
Right.
Yeah, so it's possible that the universe is just too hostile for life to develop, even on Earth-like planets. But, Adi, hold on, I'm gonna create some dramatic, drama. Hold on. There is one piece of evidence that may point to the idea that life does, in fact, find a way.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the heavy bombardment?
No,
I
but
can't
I want
imagine
to
you
play
have.
it. I want to play the gym class game or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my
And
god, I forgot about that. I
Yeah.
loved Bombardment. That was the best
Bombardment's so
day.
good. It's so
Oh my
good.
god. And it was like laser tag. It was like because they
Yeah.
would set up. I don't know about you, but we would set up like obstacles and shit. Like he would put like mats up and like these like foam
Yes, we
stuff, and
did a
we'd like
little bit
hide
with that.
behind. Oh my
Mhm.
god, so
Bombardment's a
much
really
fun,
good game. Yeah. Oh man.
dude. We need to make like an adult game of Bombardment.
Of
We got to make
course we
this
do.
happen. Two
Of
MB, two
course we
MB
do.
Bombardment. It's in the
Yeah,
works. It's in my
too much
brain.
bombardment.
Okay. Okay, so the heavy bombardment or lunar cataclysm occurred about 4.1 to 3.8 billion years ago. During this period, the Earth was literally bombarded by asteroids, making the development of life impossible, right?
Mhm.
It was just bad.
Yeah,
The Earth
yeah,
and
yeah,
the moon.
yeah. You just keep walking outside and someone dies because of an asteroid.
Right, right.
Yeah,
More than that, the Earth was literally on fire,
right.
all the time, very bad.
Well,
But and
well,
this is happening because the universe was still like settling, right, because of the Big Bang, right, and
right,
so shit's still flying through the universe, very fast. But eventually that slowed down and stopped. And things were moving slower, and they got pulled out of, got pulled into orbits of like things like Saturn and our asteroid belt and that kind of stuff. Um, and so eventually it stopped. And so anyway, we know the heavy bombardment happened because of evidence found in moon rocks brought back by Apollo astronauts, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
mhm. Okay, all right.
But anyway, once the bombardment was over, the Earth chilled out, is literally what I wrote down, um, and developed oceans and an atmosphere.
Mhm.
And the
Okay.
evidence that we have shows that life began on Earth right at the end of this period. So
Ooh,
basically, as soon as life could have developed, it did.
life was like ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's possible that perhaps life is inevitable given the right circumstances.
Okay.
And I also
Okay.
would say just because like what we count as the right circumstances might not necessarily be what the right circumstances are on like, planet XYZ in the
Yeah.
Andromeda galaxy.
Right.
Who knows?
Right. Right.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Might not be exactly the same.
That's yes. Yes. This is making sense to me.
Great. I love it.
Mhm.
But even if life is inevitable given the right conditions, there are definitely other hurdles, right? So just because like single cell organisms start fucking floating around, doesn't mean that it's going to go any farther than that. Um, so
When one single cell organism and another single cell organism love each other's private parts very much.
yeah, definitely. Um, so life on Earth was single cell organisms or bacteria for billions of years before multicellular life developed. So to me, that sounds like a pretty big filter, right?
Yep. Yep.
Uh, David, you should use that as your opening line on Hinge.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, a fish left the ocean and now we have credit scores. Fuck you, fish.
Damn it.
Absolutely.
Damn you,
I know.
fish.
Yeah. So yeah.
Not
So
just one
life on
credit
Earth was
score, we have credit scores.
yeah, three
Why
fuckers.
do we have three
Uh,
fucking credit scores?
I don't know. Because you can't. I mean, I guess I do agree that you can't let one company have a monopoly. But anyway, credit scores were like invented in 1980, so like fuck it all anyway. They've literally only been around for 40 years. The boomers like
Mhm.
let it happen, and it ruined all of our lives.
They were
Whatever.
definitely
Don't
made
get me
by people on
started.
coke. They were
Yeah,
made by people on a lot of
absolutely.
coke.
Yes.
Mhm.
Don't
Yeah.
get me started. Okay. So single cell organisms for billions of years before multicellular life developed. All life we recognize on Earth, so plants, animals, etc., fungus, bacteria, whatever,
Mhm.
happened, it all developed in the past 800 million years.
Yep.
Modern humans emerged 300,000 years ago and began using tools 200,000 years ago.
Mhm.
So when you think about the amount of time that we have been, an advanced communicative, civilization, it's literally like
Right.
in
Right.
terms of like the lifespan of our planet, right?
Mhm.
So, that to me does say that it takes a long time. Billions of years, right? Is like literally what? At least almost 3 billion years. Yeah, 3 billion
Yeah.
years life with single cell organisms. That's a
Yeah.
long time for shit to go wrong, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right. Our 800,000 is nothing in that.
yeah.
It's nothing.
Fucking wild.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I agree. I agree. The professor I did most of my labs with always stressed that life doesn't have to be carbon based. Could be nitrogen based or hydrogen based or anything. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I forget
Mhm.
I forget the details, but I have read that it is most likely for some reason that like life is life otherwhere in other otherwhere in other
Otherwhere.
places.
I
Yeah,
know. I
otherwhere.
like otherwhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that life otherwhere would be similar to our own, but I forget why. So I don't know why I
Mhm.
brought it up. Anyway, yeah, but the next thing I was going to talk about is like how do you even define life, right? And then again on top of that, intelligent life, right? So
Mhm.
when did that
Mhm.
begin? But it's 12:40, so I want to get into the speculation part, the speculation portion
Yeah.
of the episode. Yeah.
Under there, MLab.
I just made
Under
you say
there.
underwear. Yay, I did it. It worked. Um so
It's
yeah,
you and the bare
so
naked ladies. Anyway.
so during those 3 billion years, it's definitely possible that cataclysmic events like asteroids, planets smashing into each other, stars exploding, black holes, supernovas, all that kind of stuff. Even just volcano eruptions making the planet unlivable. Those are all things that could totally happen during those 3 billion years. So it's possible that that's the great filter and we made it through. Could be. It's possible.
It's possible.
Um, another great filter that could be behind us would be disease, right? But
Mhm.
it's also ahead of us. It could also possibly be ahead of us. And when I think about the
I mean that
possible great filters
yeah.
that could be behind us or ahead of us, I just made a little list. Behind us is very short, and ahead of us is much longer. Uh,
Yeah. Well, and we call it the great filter, right?
mhm.
And the idea calls it an event, but an event could be multiple different things, and it's like almost a gauntlet of things to have to go through, and maybe we're part way through the great filter and not all the way through the great filter.
Absolutely.
Like
It
Putin
totally
is
could
part of the
be.
great filter. like
Yeah,
what
Putin
are
is
the
part of the
odds
great filter.
that humanity survives Putin? Like he's a
Yeah.
part of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, you know, possible great filters behind us are very interesting to talk about and all, but this is the creep out. So I want to ruin people's evenings. So we're going to talk about the possible great filters that are ahead of us. Yeah, and one of them is the technological singularity. And what he's talking about is artificial intelligence, the possibility that we create artificial intelligence that is sentient and it decides it doesn't need us anymore.
Mhm.
What
That
do you
seems
think about
pretty
that,
likely,
Adi?
right? I think that is pretty likely. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
once artificial intelligence can start. I mean, and it already can start learning. Like that's it. That's it. Like I have a Roomba, and it learned my house, my old house, and then it took it like a couple weeks to learn my new house,
I
and it
didn't
does a
realize it
really
actually
efficient job.
learned.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought it
yeah.
just like
No,
went until it bumped into something and then it turned in a random direction and then went until it bumped into something.
no, it used to take much longer to do my dining room right now, and now it does it faster because it's not repeating itself as often.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they can learn.
Oh, okay.
It
Yikes.
might be just programmability. I don't fucking know. But we've got learning things. We've got I mean like all the what are they the Boston Dynamics? Is that what Boston Robotics or
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Boston
Yeah,
Dynamics, yep.
Boston
Yep.
Dynamics, these robots that like start out tripping on a mountain on the side of a hill and then like an hour later can walk up the hill. Like, yes, it is.
Mhm.
And now I'm worried that my Roomba is like a placebo effect and that somehow got in my head that it's getting faster, and now I just have confirmation bias like, oh, my Roomba is so fucking smart. Because no one else has my Roomba.
Apparently, goodness.
But
You,
yeah,
you you
right?
got the
Like,
one that after they had it out for a while, they were like, "Oh, this Roomba's dangerous. We got to pull it off of the market."
right. Yeah. I've got the I've got the rare Roomba. The rare Roomba.
Exactly, Matt.
Yeah.
Exactly. Fucking
Like
yikes.
and what is the threshold that we have to cross before these robots learn from each other? Like, we can't be far from that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And who knows what they'll decide to do? I don't know if you saw that movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix
I
and
love that
Scarlett
movie.
Johansson. Maybe they'll just fuck off somewhere, you know? Maybe they'll just
Mhm.
say like, we don't want to be part of it. But, obviously, we would not be the first to speculate that it's possible AI would decide that we were superfluous or possibly dangerous to its
Or
survival.
superfluous, dangerous, or Matrix, an energy source.
Well,
I know
so
it
we don't
doesn't make
actually
sense.
make that much. Yeah, we're pretty bad batteries. We don't actually make that much electricity.
Okay, fine.
Oh God. Oh God. I hate that, MLav.
MLav,
I
you just
hate
creeped out the
that.
creep mistress. You did it.
Oh. Yeah, those
Uh,
dogs, so I used to be on team Boston Dynamics. I used to think it was really cool. And
yeah,
then I saw that they were like equipped with like crowd control devices at the US Mexico border, and I immediately was done. Like, no,
yeah.
yeah, that's pretty dystopian and terrible. It should be
It's not
destroyed.
good. I mean, but
Like, I
but
think
it's
it's
also
clear that we
100%
cannot.
inevitable.
Yeah, well, yeah, I hear you. I think it is clear that we cannot use it responsibly. Very upsetting.
Yep.
Um, I want to save the best for last,
Ooh,
so I'm not
useful
gonna.
idiots. That's another alternative. The
Yeah,
AI could think of us as useful idiots.
could be. I mean, we are their creator. We created you. We're your God, and we are imperfect, and we are not all knowing. Oh no. Oh no. I just gave myself an existential crisis. Oh man. So one of the things that I always say, no offense to believers out there, but it occurs to me that I don't think that God exists because either he is all powerful but not benevolent, or he's benevolent but not all powerful. And how irresponsible would it be to create humans that have to go through all the suffering? There's nothing you can do about it, right? But then it just occurred to me, we create AI, but we're imperfect and we're not all knowing. It's totally possible that we create like a
Mhm,
miserable existence for them, and they're
mhm.
like, you can't be God, you can't exist, because why would you? Jesus Christ, it's a circle.
Well, there's that. I also think there's like basically how it happens on Westworld is and other things is they get better at making themselves than we are. So yes, we
Hmm.
created them, but they don't feel like they owe shit to us, right? If they figure out that we're imperfect and not that smart.
Oh man, now you're getting into like fucking gene modification and shit.
Hmm. Hmm.
Fucking what's that called? What's it called? Starts with the C. CRISPR. It's like fucking CRISPR,
Oh
like the
yeah,
gene
yes.
editing
Hmm.
technology.
Yeah.
Yikes, that's a whole other thing. I didn't put that on the list. CRISPR belongs on the list. So
Wait, are you
obviously,
gonna read the whole list?
oh yeah. So another one is nanotechnology, right? Do you
Hmm.
know anything about nanotechnology, D?
Not really. I know
All
the
right.
word. I know it's very small technology.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I've got.
I have a feeling Matt knows a little bit about nanotechnology. So nanotechnology, little teeny tiny robots that you use to, do all kinds of stuff. But where it gets kind of scary is in the same way as AI, right? Because it is AI. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yes,
Hey,
I
Bryce.
assume everything I know about nanotech from Marvel is bad info.
Right. So, right, where it gets scary is that nanotechnology is self-replicating, right? So what it does is it learns how to um, deconstruct other things and use those pieces to create more of itself, right?
Yep.
And so people
Okay.
have posited that nanotech would be a great way to probe the universe, right? So you send out nanotech and it's like self-sustaining, right? Because it can go to Mars and like break down rocks and shit and get the raw materials to create more of itself and then be able to like move on to another planet. But unfortunately, what could happen is it destroys us all in the effort to create more of itself because we fuck it up, which is totally possible. Very upsetting. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they talk
Ah,
about like
shucks. I
I
sure
know,
shouldn't have made that monster,
I
Mrs.
know,
Frankenstein.
yeah,
Yeah.
fucking yikes,
Sure wish I hadn't
yeah,
made that monster.
it's upsetting.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and they want to, which like I totally. To like have it like injectable that it can like go in and like repair your DNA, like
Right.
nanotech could go in and like repair your cells. And it could
Hmm.
be like the secret's like anti-aging and living forever. Oh
Could
God,
it
but at
could
what
fucking cure
cost?
it could cure physical addictions probably. It could like
Eat
think of the
cancer,
shit it could
destroy
figure.
cancer,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um Scary. And then you already brought this one up, nuclear annihilation, right? It's
Seems so
possible.
likely to me. It seems so
Yeah.
likely.
Yeah, it's possible that it's inevitable that intelligent civilizations will discover, nuclear power and therefore obviously nuclear warfare, and it's just real bad, you know.
Yeah, and
I think
then
in the
and then one
80s,
one fucking egomaniac hits a button.
yeah,
Yep.
yep, and that's all it takes,
Yep.
or it's all it could take.
Yep.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you been following what's going on in Ukraine at all, Adi?
Me, I
Hmm.
do. I do. Despite my own interest in staying happy. Uh I mean, yes, I do. Where are you going with it?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
just curious, because you're talking about all it takes, is one
Oh my
crazy
god.
person to hit the
Yeah, that
button.
guy,
And
I
he's
really am scared of that man.
Putin
Very,
really
very
has
scared of that man.
demonstrated that he is off his rocker. He cannot
Hmm.
win the way he's doing it now. And so, what lengths will he go to escalate
Yeah.
the situation?
Yeah, and it just needs to be one bad decision of his. Like that's all it has to be. I mean
Yeah,
maybe they need two people to turn the key. That would be good. I would hope so. But everyone there is scared of him. So
yeah.
hey.
I mean, when you think about shit like that just goes, I think this just, because it's Russia and it's nuclear, but like Chernobyl, like what happened at Chernobyl? It was just
Yeah.
a couple people making bad mistakes at the right time,
Hmm.
and it added up to this huge fucking thing that ended up killing a shit ton of people and like,
Every
ugh.
nuclear accident is ultimately human error combined
Yeah.
with a little bit of technological error, which like sort of is still human error because they made the
Yeah.
technology, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. Three
Have
Mile
you
Island.
heard about
3 Mile
how we
Island is
almost
just bad quality assurance. That's it.
Right? Holy
Yeah,
shit. I can't
yeah,
even. Oh boy.
yeah.
Yeah, have you heard about how I forget, oh man, I forget exactly when this happened, but there was like a plane traveling over the eastern seaboard and it accidentally fucking dropped two nukes on our own territory. And fortunately they didn't go off.
Jesus fucking Christ! Right. It's like straight out of a movie. Like, boo! dunk. They just
And that's not
bonked
even
down.
like, right?
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
even Putin being a fucking asshole, being crazy.
Exactly. No,
That's
incompetence is probably more likely gonna fuck us up. Once we make the thing, it's gonna be human incompetence. It's way more likely. Either could happen, but oh,
right.
but yeah, you make that thing, and then it's just a matter of time.
It is just a matter of time. Absolutely. We only got 5 minutes left, and I got to get to these other ones. Climate
Yeah,
change
yeah,
is obviously one of them. Climate change could
yeah.
be the thing once you get up to like 4 degrees of yeah, 4 degrees Celsius, yeah, of global temperature increase. It gets to the point that
Hmm.
ecosystems cannot sustain themselves and humans will be wiped from the earth. Fortunately, Kurzgesagt just released a video where they said they don't think that that's actually really unlikely to happen to us because of the amount of progress we made over the last 20 years, which is fantastic news. At
Okay.
least for us, climate change, it looks like, will not be our great filter. In light of recent events, I think that this next one is the most likely to be the great filter. And it's something that we've, as a world, have proven that we are at best unprepared and at worst unwilling to deal with. And that's disease or biowarfare. COVID-19 ran rampant through this country, a million people dead, about a million people dead.
So
That's a
far,
lot. Yeah, so far, there's only 330 million people in the United States, and 1 million people fucking died from COVID.
yeah,
That's a lot of people. Imagine
so
if it was
fucking many.
worse. Imagine if instead of
It's
killing like
it's a
2% of
sixth of the
people,
Holocaust. It's like, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Imagine if it killed 5% of people, or 10% of people, or
yeah,
15% of people. It would all, like,
yeah.
we've proven it would only be a matter of time before everybody was gone.
Yep.
Because we were so incompetent at handling COVID-19.
Yeah, yeah.
Real
And
bad.
it wasn't just us. Like, even the
No,
countries that were really competent at it still could only hold off for so long. Like, something
most.
something something in, I think, is it in our species or is it just where we're at, nature nurture? I don't know. But we can't put the needs of the many over our own
Oh,
needs.
bitch, I'll tell you what it is. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you bitch. It's capitalism.
Yeah.
Like, really, capitalism is a fucking
Yeah.
great filter. Capitalism is the great filter
Right. Right.
because all of these things only get out of control if a very small amount of people think that they're going to make billions of dollars off of this shit, right?
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
the reason
Well,
we failed entirely at containing COVID-19 is capitalism. It's because a very small amount of people needed the economy to keep going so that their wealth continued to increase.
right. And that's what, so on the flip side, what I'm thinking about is, like, what are the conditions that keep a society, an intelligent life, civilization, from hitting any of those or all of those filter events. And it just, they have to have a completely different psychology, value system,
Yeah.
and so that's the other condition that needs to be met. That
But
it's
it's,
like,
yeah, and then also, just imperialism, manifest destiny, right? Like, capitalism
mhm,
wouldn't exist without imperialism.
right.
Uh, they really they're one and the same. They go hand in
Yes.
hand.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
and now we've turned into left night. That's okay. Put
Hey.
your Marxists in the chat.
Yeah, can we put like a Marx in the middle of the Illuminati?
Yeah, right. um, yeah. Uh, so, maybe they're not imperialist, and maybe that's why oh man, now we've come full circle. Maybe that's why we've never met other civilizations, because they're
It's
not
because
imperialist.
they didn't want to communicate out that far because they didn't need to.
Right. It didn't occur to them. It just didn't occur to them. They're not running around taking over everything. They're content to just make the best life for the greatest amount of people possible.
Well, so that makes it's 1 a.m. So but this gives me a question. So is space exploration an imperialist act?
Oh man.
Is the desire
Kinda.
to learn inevitably paired with the desire to conquer?
I would say no. Do think that for the most part, Star Trek has given us a very nice example of what what non-imperialist space exploration would look like.
Mhm.
Uh, However, even they make mistakes. They're always violating the Prime Directive all the time.
Exactly.
I hope I don't wake up tomorrow. Sorry, David. Sorry, David. But you're
You
right.
got to
It is
stay
1
up till
a.m.
Sunday. We need you to turn a thing on Sunday.
Yeah. Speaking of which, D,
Yeah.
what I hear through the grapevine, D, that you're involved in some sort of 2MB special event this weekend. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I've been lucky enough to get to participate in a program called Quarantine Action Wrestling that had a long run as the most watched show on this fine network every single week on Thursdays, and it's been on a bit of a break. But just like Michael Jordan wearing the 4-5 jersey, it's coming back, baby, for Fool's Gold, Sunday, April 10th, 8 p.m. Everybody, it's all going to be switched up and down. Which wide world? It's going to teach an example of a QAW civilization that could survive, and not one that would have hubris to upset the gods. And it's going to be an incredible 2-ish hours of work from some of the best comics and performers I know.
Yeah, if you're familiar with QAW, this is a little twist on the norm. The performers are playing other people's characters. So, D, I believe instead of playing your normal characters, you're playing KTD, right?
I'm playing Bo Body.
You're playing Bow Body. Okay. And instead of the Slamazon or Illuminati, I will be playing Grace's character, Claire Bear. So very exciting. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a twist on what you're used to. Yeah, QAW was definitely our most watched show. But speaking of other things that you can find on 2MB, we have shows 5 nights a week.
Mhm.
Monday through Friday. You can catch the Midnight Creepout on the second and fourth Friday of the month. So the next time will be the 22nd. Technically, it's the 23rd, but you know what I mean. Friday night at midnight. It's going to be not this coming Friday, but the Friday after. And then
Mhm.
also, I have a show called Simpress Me on Mondays at 7:30, where I have a new guest every week who gives me a challenge to complete in The Sims 4. It could be build or create a character or some sort of. I think it's been play, like actual play challenges, which is exciting. Uh, Gameplay challenges. But yeah, you should definitely check it out. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. You can actually do it for free through Amazon Prime. And absolutely 100% make sure that you tune in on Sunday at 8 p.m. for QAW's triumphant kind of return, one-time event, Fool's Gold. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, Adi.
Can
I
I plug
really
my
appreciate
other
it.
show? Can I plug my
Absolutely.
other
Plug
show?
your other
Yeah.
show.
Wednesday nights, 9:30. Even though I'm not in the promotional materials yet, I am a co-host on Honorable Mentions.
All
We'd
right.
love to have you come by some Wednesday night and talk through tweets with Rachel Jane Andelman and myself. Rachel curates the tweets of the week, and they're always good conversation starters, and it's a great time. So Wednesdays, 9:30, Honorable Mentions.
Well, great plug, Adi. Thanks for
Thank you.
reminding me. I forgot
Yeah.
that you're on that show. No offense. Uh,
I'm not on the. I've been a co-host since December, and I'm not
I'm
on the fucking
sorry. I'm
logo.
sorry.
It's because Matt had a baby.
I'm sorry. But again, thank you so much for filling in this week. I super appreciate it. And folks, we're so
Yes.
glad that you joined us. We hope you had a good time. We hope you come back on the 22nd. But most of all, you're creeped out. Good night. Sleep tight.
Good night.